Good morning, Saitlanders. How are you? We hope that you are very, very well. I want to chat to you briefly about an article that appeared in news24.com 2 days ago. Today being Wednesday, the 7th of December, and I believe that this is from Monday. And it is very, very telling. By the way, I apologize again for the skewness of the camera. It's not one that, like the old one that I had that you could move by remote control to correct for anything. And for me to get up and go that side and then come back and look at for such an error as we have now is not worth the trouble. It's a pain in the neck to get it right when you have to leave your place, fiddle with it by estimation, by guesswork, and then come around the corner again to see what's on the screen. I could do it with the other screen, but honestly I'm so done with that technical stuff. I'll just drive myself crazy. So here we go. This is it. Do you remember some time back, I believe that we covered this somewhere, maybe on one of the WhatsApp groups, about the insurance companies in the USA, and this is a very, very, very big thing. If you want to verify what I'm talking about, search against Edward, I almost said Edward Dutton, but Edward Dutton is the scientist who proved why it is that the Western world is going crazy. What has happened to our genetics in recent generations. I meant to say Edward Dowd. Search against the name Edward Dowd on YouTube and on BitChute and other platforms. The American insurance companies have discovered a huge, phenomenal anomaly in illnesses that have proliferated since early 2021. Those illnesses have been reported in various publications as sudden adult death syndrome. Nobody knows why there is such a tremendous increase in those illnesses, particularly in the West. And of course in myocarditis and other illnesses in children, but more particularly in adults. The anomaly is such that it's, I can't remember and I can't do the mental arithmetic, it's a sigma standard deviation of 8 or something, which is just not possible. So for instance, let's say that every year your grove of avocado trees produces 1,000 avos, 100 avos per 10 trees in your grove. Some years 99 and some 101. Some years 95 and 106. So it goes on. There are these aberrations and anomalies. But the average is 100 per tree per year. And then in 1 year, they produce 8,000 each. That's statistically impossible. And if it was, let's say, 4,000 or 2,000, 1,500, 250, there's a greater likelihood of those aberrations. Right. What these insurance companies have discovered is that people are dying at a rate that simply cannot be explained by history or science or anything except, there's one explanation out there, we needn't go into that. And the aberrations are huge in percentage terms. You know, like The numbers are just phenomenal, particularly among women in menstruous, menstrual problems, estrus, that is to say, the ovulation, stillbirths, and miscarriages. They make the illnesses among men look like nothing worth talking about. And this has happened out of the blue since early 2021. And if you go back over previous years, you see that the average, or the yearly performance, the yearly statistics are very, very, very close to the average. Up 5% one year, down 3% the next year, and the average sits in the middle there. You can barely see it on the graph. The ripples are so small. And then you get to 2021 and it goes just like that. Well, it turns out that the United States of America and Western Europe, Australia, New Zealand and other places are not alone. News 24, the 5th of the 12th of 2022, indeed Monday. Discovery flags, someone waving a flag, would you believe? 200% spike in heart disease death claims. Heart disease death claims. And I posted this on the WhatsApp groups that I run, the three of them, one for overseas people, one for Mr. Miller, and some sponsors, people who would prefer their identities not to be known, and then one for Saitlander's senior leadership, so provincial leaders, national leaders, heads of departments, Ornelayers Raad, executive committee, all of those guys. And this is what I wrote to accompany the link that I posted. At long last, would you believe it, but I was thinking of this very matter last night and this morning. Sunday and Monday morning I was thinking about this. When are we going to show statistics that endorse this phenomenon that is ostensibly being observed around the world, particularly in Caucasian-dominated countries? Which is not to say that non-white people are not suffering detrimental effects. Not suffering maladies out of the blue, aberrant to the historical average. But the chief victims, if that's the right word, are white people. That's just a statistical fact. I've been wondering, when are we going to see this in South Africa? Among blacks, whites, coloured, Indian. Finally, somebody in South Africa has revealed information similar to that which has come out in Europe, USA and the West about illnesses that have proliferated since early 2021. What is most interesting to me is that Discovery, as a health insurance company, represents the uppermost tier of society in South Africa. I should have perhaps put there, roughly represents. Therefore, this information does not perplex one, does not perplex you, does not perplex you and me. We are not perplexed by this information by representing completely unrelated population groups. Let me put it this way. When South Africa has a murder rate of, say, 37 per 100,000 people per year, that is not at all reflective of the murder trends in the 7 parks of Johannesburg. You know, the traditional leafy northern suburbs. Cradle Park, Victory Park. Can I remember them all? Parkmore, Parkview, Parktown, Parkhurst, and one more. Likewise, when South African women suffer rape at a rate of over 33% per lifetime, in other words, an organization called People Opposed to Women's Abuse released a report in, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, 2016, in which they revealed that over 1/3 of South African women will be raped once in their lifetimes. And that's just for once. And then there's a separate percentage number for those who get raped twice, and 3 times, and 5, and 6, and 9. But that is not at all reflective that in no way reflects how severely my people are raping their neighbors. And this is not a nasty thing to say, it's just the reality. Most South African statistics are completely misleading when it comes to me and mine. However, Discovery is a different kettle of fish altogether. Discovery is the health insurer. I've never been insured by Discovery. Let me make that very clear. Neither of my kids, as far as I know. It's prohibitively expensive. Nevertheless, Discovery is the health insurer of, you could say, me and mine. Of the leafy northern suburbs, of fine schools, of liberalia and globalism. This shows you that white, English-speaking liberals, the people from whom I come, not my family, my parents are conservative, but that's the milieu, the environment from which I come naturally. I grew up on the south coast of Natal. When I was a kid, it was everybody voted, not New National Party, what was it called? Vos Raw was the guy who was the head of that party, big fat guy with huge jowls. Vos Raw. Or Progressive Federal Party. There were no Afrikaners. I never met. There was an Afrikaans school right next to ours. So my high school, primary school was in Bogantwini. No Afrikaans primary schools for miles. My high school was Kingsway, and next door to it was Kuswag. But Kuswag served from, from the Bluff to, I suppose, Scottsboro or somewhere. And it was half the size of our school. So I never properly met somebody from Kuswag until I was in matric. There were just no Afrikaners around. That was the demographic profile of Amanzimtoti in those days. It's changed very much. Very much. And there, as I've said to you, nobody voted national until in later years. Like my dad started to vote National Party. And I think he might have voted CP once in the last days. He wasn't happy with the way things were going. This shows you that white English-speaking liberals, professional and wealthy Afrikaners, the Greek, Portuguese and Jewish communities of the big cities are dying like flies from cardiac-type diseases. Wow, this is big news indeed. So that's it. That's the whole story. We've already been going for 14 minutes. It's telling, guys. It's very telling. This stuff is here now with us. You can't get away from it. And by the way, just to be clear, it's not a 100% increase. It is a 200% increase. Meaning that 3 times the number of people are dying as used to die among Discovery's clients. Discovery's employee benefits. So it's one of those group schemes, you know, where they present it to a company. The company says, okay, we'll put in 500 Rand a month for every employee, and every employee must put in another 500 Rand a month or whatever. So of course there will be lower people, from the lower income strata of South African society. But that's not the way that you should look at it, because Discovery being far more expensive than many other options, most ordinary companies, if they provide employee benefits, are going to be going for something other than the gold standard, other than the Mercedes, other than Discovery. Although I'm sure that they have many very, highly tailored products that are fairly affordable, but still Discovery is Discovery. 200% increase means 3 times. It means if 100 people were dying a year of cardiac problems, and you add to that 100%, what do you get? You get 200. If you add another 100%, you get 300. So the number has trebled in layman's language. It's here, guys. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I used to live in the northern suburbs, did for years. I'd love to be there now. Trying to listen for whispers of people pegging, and then politely asking, well, I wonder why. Change of diet? What happened to them? Don't tell me. They were a heavy drinker. No. What changed? It's bad. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe. And if you want to support us, go to saintlanders.org. Saintlanders.org. Scroll to the bottom of you go into go through the enter here. Then you scroll to the bottom of the home page, and there are various payment options if you would like to support our work, if you believe that our work is worthwhile, if you believe that we are as worthy as the Red Cross Children's Hospital or the Boys Town or the SPCA. Our work is good and our work is worthy, and we are in the forefront, the absolute forefront. Saintlanders in this country is in the forefront of addressing the realities, the truths that nobody else will address. Please help us. Thank you very much. Goodbye and God bless.